first this evening the parents of our beautiful bride, Mark and Jenny Lee.
Well, standing with
Wasn't expecting to get up there so early. Nevertheless, I thought I'd start with a bit of advice. It's the second time after all, so...
Not the second... No, we might just reiterate that. It's not the second wedding for these people. It's our second wedding in as many years. So we had a wedding last year, our beautiful Georgia and Alistair. And this is the second wedding in our family. Thank you very much. Sorry, Mitch.
So in respect to the speech, I mean, a lot of people, I'm not really that accustomed to doing this. You'd much rather be sitting there having a drink and all the rest of it. But the reality is sometimes you've got to do it. So I've just got a few little suggestions. And if you've got it on a doc, you can do a copy and paste. And then you sort of got the last one, and then you can do like a find and replace, you know that one? So you just get Georgia and replace it with Jess. And all of a sudden...
You've got a speech.
All of a sudden you've got the bones of it. The other thing that I discovered this year was a thing called ChatGPT. Now, the good thing is it's free. You can just sort of sign up to it, no money or anything. Then I tested it out with my classes at school. So I set them this task. I said, right, tonight's you've got to write 400 words on the causes of geopolitical conflict in the Crimea. But it can't start with P, right? So the next day, am I allowed to say dumb? One of my most challenged students handed up this piece of work, which was
we all have them.
Probably a finalist in the Pulitzer Prize. So, there's ways and means of getting around this. So that's the end of the advice. So good afternoon. Welcome to the celebration of Mitch and Jess's wedding. I'd like to warmly welcome Rowan and Eileen, tutor, parents of the groom, also Miss Natalie Elon, who was our wedding celebrant today. Special welcome to all the family and friends who've travelled from Sydney and Canberra and Northern Rivers and every other place in between to join us here on this very special occasion. So Jess Kate was born on the Sunday the 3rd of December 1995, 6:30am in the Mater Hospital. It would be fair to say that she had a certain determination to enter the world that morning.
2 weeks early.
As it happened, I was working at the Coombe races on a Saturday and received several phone calls as we were driving home as to say Jenny was getting close. When would I be home? On arrival at Denniston, I swapped the bookie satchel for the hospital bag and off we went to the Mater. Jess was born on the Sunday morning. Shortly after, Jenny was reminding me about the early stages of labour, which I'd missed. And on reflection, it probably wasn't the best time for me to make the comparison about how Mike Atherton just batted for 643 minutes to save the Johannesburg Test for England. At that time, we lived at Denniston, the home which would be where we'd raise our 3 children. And I recall this to be the most rewarding and happy time when the kids were young and innocent. Jess was always a gregarious and curious child, very observant and calculating, a real thinker or an ideas person. As I was checking through some old diaries to get some fodder for this, I couldn't help notice Jess's emerging handwritten scrawl. reminded me of a birthday was coming up, and usually on the day there's a very significant drawing, 3rd of December. On our regular road trips from Sydney to Kirrong, Jess would be very generously offer Georgia the western side seat in the car. So she herself could have some mild relief from the sun. And on the way back, she did it in reverse. Jess had a wonderful experience with Mima as a daycare nonna at West Ryde. Just delighted in organising the other kids in a range of activities, always assertive in her ideas and perspectives. In 1998, I had a year off work to look after Georgia and Jess, dropping Georgia off at preschool and then on most days looking after Jess at home. So a lot of UK TV, Minder reruns. We watched a lot of Play School. I've become a massive fan of Thomas the Tank Engine. The dentist and playgroup was a strange domain for me, but I soon found my niche, just setting the play equipment up at the start and putting it away at the end. There are a few Patsy Bisco moments with a guitar, but they weren't really worth a mention. I still think they were some of the best years that I spent. Jess was the most independent and motivated student at school, and this developed into a lifelong focus on learning, culminating with the qualifications she's attained and the vocation she demonstrated with incredible commitment and dedication. Definitely Jess's greatest characteristic is her unswerving generosity and commitment to her family and friends. A more loyal friend you could not find. Jess invests deeply in her friendships, and I know how grateful she is for the many of them to be here and to share this day tonight. Jenny and I are extremely proud of the independent, intelligent, and competent person Jess has developed into. As I said, she's very caring and shows great empathy and concern for the welfare of others. I am positive that Jess will be a most loyal and supportive partner for Mitch. When I first met Mitch, my impressions were of a quiet, respectful young man, always seemed to have a most empathetic and caring attitude towards others. One occasion which quietly impressed me was the manner in which he navigated the interrogation at the hands of my extended family at his first Kirrong farmhouse gathering, which he did most seamlessly. But it was in the manner in which Mitch cares for Jess was his most endearing quality from our perspective. His selflessness and support during their move from Sydney to Brisbane during COVID-21, enduring the 14 days of hotel quarantine as they both relocated to a new city, was a mark of his character. Jess and Mitch made a new home at Wilston and straight away extended their hospitality to friends and family. Hosting us last Christmas was a most memorable experience, and now with their awesome place at Wynnum, they can build their future together just as their parents did what is now a generation ago. Just think of the rugby league immortals that turned out in that area to play. Miles, Lewis, Dowling, Lindner. It's a fact that Mitch is a sensational cook in all formats of the game. He really excels on the barbecue. He is welcome to control the tongs anytime he wants to. Easter this year, he transformed the last of our green prawns into the most amazing marinade. But more than this, he created the focus for family and friends to gather and enjoy time together. As a Canberra Raiders supporter, he only knows too well how to deal with adversity. I like the Sharks, who also promise so much but deliver so little. But I'd still like to thank Mitch and Jackson for access to the KO. It is very easy to see that Mitch is the most honest and dedicated partner and now husband to our daughter Jess, and we are extremely proud to have him to call Mitch our son-in-law. I would especially like to acknowledge Rowan and Eileen and the support and guidance that they have given Mitch and Jess. Whilst we only have met a couple of times, those occasions have always been with this day in mind. Jenny and I look forward to many family occasions in the future where we may share time together with our families. Finally, I would like to acknowledge the fine young man Mitch is and how proud you must be of him. Jess is indeed most fortunate to have Mitch as a husband. To my wife Jenny, this bit hasn't changed much. We married in 1989.
It was 1789. It feels like a decade.
And as we know, she hadn't really moved much out of Eastwood in that vicinity. But somehow we've endured longer than the priest in the place that we were married. Since then, we've lived together in many places: Cremorne, Marsfield, Greenpoint,
So lived in harmony.
Crystal Palace, Denniston, since 2005 in Lennox. We've been blessed with 3 children, all of which we're extremely proud of. I'm eternally grateful to have you as my wife and the total dedication and selflessness you've shown raising our daughter Jess. I know that Jess learnt from your example the value of unconditional love that was bestowed on you by your mother and also myself by my mother. So please join me in a toast to Mitch and Jess. May you always be true to each other. May you always be kind to each other. May you share all the joys and shoulder all the burdens that your lives together will have in store for you. To Mitch and Jess. Happy days.
Thank you, Mark and Jenny. Sorry for dragging you away from your drink. But you got the chore done, so well done. I didn't think anyone would work in the political landscape of Crimea into the wedding club. Alrighty, up next I'd like to invite our best man of the evening, BJ.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take my drink up with me, I think. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have the esteemed privilege of being the best man before you here at this wedding. And let me tell you, it's pretty amazing to see Mitch up here today. I first met Mitch as a fresh-faced teenager when he came to the Glebe District Hockey Club in Sydney. It looked like he'd just left band practice. Granted, he probably had. Not a hair on his face, blonde locks, and a quiet wit I was soon to find out was matched only by his shyness. He's changed somewhat since then, grown a lot over that time, and we've had some great and interesting experiences along the way, but Mitch, don't worry, I'll be kind tonight. I, like many others here, saw him come out of his shell at university and, being stuck in an elevator with 24 other people when it's only meant to take 18, we'll do that. We got through the claustrophobia, and we moved on from there, played a lot of hockey together, whether it's rep, for glebe, indoor. All that time I dragged him down to come play in Campbelltown. Granted, Mitch, a lot of friends were made along the way. Thank you, Dale. And for those of us who know Mitch from his hockey days, he had a knack for finding the goal at the right time. He's also had a knack for finding a landline in any room to take a new Facebook profile picture with. I'm not sure whether or not that had anything to do with the phone that you've got here, but if you haven't had a look at his Facebook profile, I highly encourage you to do so. Mitch always does the best for his mates as well. I think personally when I was zonked down on endone after a shoulder reconstruction, I'd been home about 24 hours and he decided it'd be great to come and play some PlayStation with me to keep me company. Granted, I really appreciate it, even if I fell asleep on the couch within half an hour. Now, before I go any further, I want to say a huge congratulations again to the happy couple. Jess, you were truly radiant today, and Mitch, you've always had impeccable style, even through your long hair phase. But what I've learned about Mitch through our friendship is that he's not an easy nut to crack. And I think Jess will admit to this as well, because I was recently told that the first time she became aware that Mitch considered her his girlfriend was when he introduced her as such to a friend at a party. Now, Jess being Jess, she took that in her stride. But I have to say, Mitch, I'm really glad you bucked that trend before calling me about the engagement. Now, I thought for my speech I'd tell you guys a little bit about how our newlyweds met. It's a modern day love story where our lovely couple met in the magical land of Tinder. Now, for those of us not familiar, it's an app where people can either swipe left or right, determining the fate of their love lives with a flick of a finger. Fun fact, actually, 44% of couples who meet their match on Tinder end up in long-term relationships, and a further 13% end up getting married. Now, when I asked Jess and Mitch what they remember about each other's profile, Jess tells me that Mitch had this profile picture of him at a festival in a loud shirt, and she thought, gee whiz, this guy looks a little like a dork. But she proceeded to take a chance and swipe right before bed. And when she went to sleep and when she woke up the next morning, Mitch had sent her a message at 1:46 in the morning. Risky, Mitch, who knows how that can be perceived? Anyway, things moved along and Jess decided to take a chance. A first date was arranged, as we've heard, in the ceremony. And I'll go into how that date went, but I'm pretty sure from all of us being gathered here today, it's quite clear that it went well. Now, just to wrap it up, I want to leave you guys with a thought. I truly think in this vast digital world, where classic love stories are being rewritten for the times, it's a true testament to fate's whimsical ways that Jess and Mitch found each other through the clicks and swipes of online destiny. Their journey, beginning with a simple connection, serves as a reminder that regardless of how we meet, fate has a mysterious yet beautiful way of bringing the right people together. Now, considering everyone here is quite keen on having a merry time, can I ask you to please raise your glasses one more time with me? Mitch and Jess. May your journey together be filled with endless laughter, unforgettable adventures, and a lifetime of love. Cheers.
Got it, mate.
Yeah. Let me swap drinks.
I don't need three, I've got two. Two might not be enough, but three could be well.
All right. Hello, everyone. Firstly, let's hope I get through this without not getting through it. But I've got Eileen, my wife, here to help me through it. And if really need be, I can call on Jackson to maybe help me get through this. So I'm Rowan. This is Eileen. We're Mitchell's parents. I hope everyone's having a great time. It sounds like we've had a great time so far, and I know that we have. It's been a very special day. Let me say that Jess, you look very beautiful today. And Mitchell, you scrubbed up nicely and very handsome. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. To Jess's parents, Mark and Jenny, thank you for your speech. It was very, very heartfelt and really well presented. Congratulations on raising such a strong and independent and beautiful woman in Jess. And as you've said, we know she makes Mitchell very happy, and that makes us happy as well, and they're wonderful together. Eileen and I are very excited to welcome Jess to our family. And we're extremely proud of Mitchell and everything that he's achieved and love him very much. Now, I guess as part of Mark's speech, he talked about when Jess was born, and I can do a bit of a segue into when Mitchell was born. So, a little backstory is one of my sisters, and I've got a couple of sisters, one of my sisters had her first son born on the 8th of July. And because Mark and his family are Cronulla fans, and as you know, we're Raiders fans, the 8th of July happens to be when Mal Meninga was born. And as a Canberra fan, we love Mal Meninga. So in 1989, my sister had a son born on the 8th of July, 89. The Raiders won a premiership. How good was that? So I thought, why not follow that model Mitchell was born on the 8th of July, 94. Raiders won a premiership. You know, and given that, we thought, let's have another go. Jackson came along in 96, October, so the season was already over, and unfortunately the Raiders haven't won since 94. So no reflection on Jackson. We love him just as much as Mitchell. He wasn't born on Mel Meninga's birthday. So, but after that, we had Jackson. We went, oh, geez, like we've either got to have them on the 8th of July, and that gets awkward because it's Mitchell's birthday. How many more can we have on the same day? Or two might be enough. We can divide and conquer with two boys. The thought of having a third boy was a little bit too scary, so we stopped at that. But let me say, congratulations to Mitch and Jess. You're surrounded by people here that are so happy to be part of your day. And as us, I'm sure they're happy to help to be here to support you and show you the love that's been in the room today and the friendship that they've given you. Also, great speech, PJ. Very entertaining and some good stories about Mitch and Jess meeting. But I'd also like to say how beautiful the rest of the bridal party looks. The girls, you look amazing. And Jackson and the boys, they did quite a few 007 James Bond poses today, as they thought they looked pretty sharp as well. So they all look really good and they look beautiful during the ceremony. As parents, we raise our children as the best of our ability, and we certainly look forward to see what the future holds, Mitchell and Jess. And we know hopefully we've given Mitchell the ground rules around what to do and how to be respectful and all that, and I think he is, and he shows that with Jess every day. And we're so proud. But always remember that it's a journey. The whole marriage life is a journey, so keep finding ways to do things in common, sharing experiences together, but be kind to each other, listen, communicate, love and laugh to each other. Do these things and you should have a happy and long marriage together. Ollie and I, we've shared ups and downs, but we've had lots of laughs and we've found common interests. So it does work, and if you have those common interests, you can get there. I converted Eileen into a Raiders fan. I've got to do something, right? So when I met Eileen, I got a couple of stories about Eileen and sport. I'm mad on sport and will pretty much watch anything and everything. So Mitchell gets that from me as well. So sorry about that, Jess. But you probably see that from your side of the family with, as Mark said, the KO access. When I first met Eileen, it was in the 90s. So I still remember the Raiders were good then. And I have to live back there because that's when they were good. And I met Eileen in about 1990, and the Raiders, they'd won in 89, they won in 90. And I said to her, I follow the Raiders. What about you? She goes, I've never watched rugby league in my life, basically. And I said, I only watch, I'm interested in the Raiders games. And I think about 6 months into our relationship, she went, let me just rephrase that statement you made. You watch the Raiders games, and any game that impacts their spot on the ladder, i.e. all of them. I went, you may be right, but anyway. But over those years, I've actually converted her to be a Raiders fan, so it's quite good. So we now ride mostly the lows, but the highs with the Raiders. But the other one was that I also support the Swans. And the first time when I met Eileen, she'd never been to an AFL game. I said, you got to go. It's better to watch it live than on TV. And this was back in the 90s as well, when the Swans were hopeless. They lost 27 weeks in a row. They had set a record for the most losses from a side. So I said to Eileen, I said, right, we're going to go. And my sister and Hillary and Colin, they were sort of welded on Swans. They were one of the 5,000 that used to turn up every week. So we said, all right, we'll go with you. If you all turn up, they beat Melbourne by 53 points to break 27 games of losing. And Eileen goes, they're not so bad. And I went, don't worry, we'll come again. They won't always win. And sure enough, they didn't for a long while. But because of that, we've found that common areas of things we like to do together. So, as I say to Mitchell and Jess, keep finding those things of common interest and work at it with each other, because that's what worked over a long time, is having that common interest and the common things to talk about and share together. So lastly, I know I've talked a bit about sport or whatever, not so much about maybe Mitchell or whatever, but it's probably helped me get through speaking today. And as my family will have known, I've been a little bit stressed here and there during the last couple of days going, yeah, I've got this speech sorted, I'll be right. And I did a practice yesterday and I got nearly to the end and sort of choked up and went, oh. So I've been quite stressed about it for the last day or so since then. So I'm really happy that I've got to this point without just sort of breaking down and maybe it's a couple of extra drinks this afternoon that have helped me along the way. But lastly, I'd like to say, as we've done a few times now, I'd like to us all to raise a toast to the newlywed couple, Mitchell and Jess. May they have a lifetime of happiness, love, and memories, and be thoughtful to each other. Mitchell and Jess.
Mitchell and Jess.
And I managed to get through it, so thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Ron and Eileen. I don't think I've heard the word Raiders said so much my whole life. It's beautiful.
If you want to come and have a chat later.
Sure.
No, I can talk about other things.
Yeah, the Swans, that's the other.
Sport related? Sure.
Alrighty, so next up, I've seen these two practicing. So the siblings of the bride, Georgia Wheelings and Eddie Lee. Please come on up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well done, Ron.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. I know a lot of you have travelled a long way to celebrate with Jess and Mitch tonight, so thank you for that. We're all incredibly happy and grateful to share this special day with you both. For those of you who don't know, I'm Georgia, Jess's older sister, and this is Eddie, Jess's younger brother. I've always been lucky to have a sister so close in age, and I feel like that gap has become so much smaller as we've gotten older. Or maybe just when we both moved out of home and Mum didn't have to colour code our school socks anymore and start fighting over them. Jess has always been very capable, intelligent and independent from a very young age, and even caught the bus to school on her second day of kindergarten. She doesn't put up with any nonsense and will tell you exactly what you need to hear, but in the nicest way possible. I remember once she sent me a calendar reminder to fix my attitude when I was... to fix my attitude when I was feeling down on myself. So different kind of attitude, but you know. It's probably for these reasons that she's often mistaken for the older sister. She's a true ally, especially in those times when you don't always see the best in yourself. Jess is incredibly generous with her time, her friends and family, and more importantly, her coffee machine. She's the master of time management and can juggle a busy work schedule, catching up with friends, weekends away, driving out to mum and dad's, and still finds time to call to see how I'm going and to whinge about someone's bad driving skills. Jess has always surrounded herself with great people, and it's awesome to see so many of her long time and long distance friends here today. Special shout out to the St. Kevin's and Xavier girls. Jess and Mitch have always welcomed us into their home, and we're so happy that they've now bought a place of their own. Even when Jess isn't around, Mitch has always been great to hang out with. Most recently, we played Crash Bandicoot for 4 hours straight and went out to breakfast together while Jess was recovering from a night shift. Mitch is already part of the family, and we've been lucky enough to have gotten to know him so well over the past few years. He's an excellent cook, I have never heard him complain once about anything, and the commitment and love he has for Jess is undeniable. He's also not afraid to occasionally roast Eddie and I just a little, which is a sure sign he will fit in with the Lee family just fine. Congratulations to you both, and wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness.
I've actually been sick.
So I had to follow.
As the third investment in the Lee family entity, Jess has been my second eldest sister since I was born on February 20th, 1999. She and I were often a team against Georgia, whether it was mutually agreeing to steal the 2 boxes of Cocoa Pops in the share pack at the farm family breakfast, or abandoning the scene after Georgia accidentally smashed her hand through a light whilst jumping on the couch in the front room. So it's obvious that Jess and I suppose Georgia too, it is obvious that we have a sister-brotherly bond that will last a lifetime and through thick and thin. So what can I say about Jess? I know that I might be repeating myself here by saying that Jess has always been a supportive sister to me. She offers no nonsense advice, reflected by her incredible work ethic, her awareness of other people's needs, and her willingness to give. She's been there in my victories and triumphs and celebrated alongside, but she has been equally supportive during the harder times in my life. She's the gold standard of a sister to myself, and I know that she'll be the gold standard of a partner to Mitch. So what can I say about Mitch? I met the Swedish lumberjack at Denniston Station. So I met the Swedish lumberjack at Denniston Station, and I was like, I finally met the heir to the stationery company. And we met on the first time at that train station on the way in to watch the Big Bash and getting cricket balls peppered at us in Deep Pocket. I'm not Deep Pocket. Caphorn, else was gone. And when Mitch met our family, he found out the hard way that he was never going to be able to have a communal conversation at a Lee family brunch or dinner, as an average of 4 conversation topics will run at the same time, and people will interrupt each other. For instance, Mum will ask Alistair about his new job position at the council. Then Georgia will interject and tell me to stop showing people videos of Bill Bailey. After I interrupted Mum, after she interrupted Jess and her talking about the Shorncliffe train schedule, whilst Dad begins to tell Mitch about how good the last dishwasher cycle was. To be fair, not a single droplet was left on the glass. Jess and Mitch, as a partnership, have both been very supportive to me, particularly of my band. For instance, one day when Jess and Mitch were driving together, Jess went into Mitch's phone to put on some Taylor Swift. But remarkably, the only music Mitch had downloaded on Spotify was Vola Inertia's EP. We've contained the Kieran problem to the back of the room there. Mitch and Jess often come to the Brisbane shows at Greaser Bar or by having me over for the night when I see some of my favourite bands play in Brisbane City. They weren't just there for my band set, they also showed up for the bands before and after us, and for a hardcore band, they stayed no matter how bad or loud the music was. They are also very helpful when they take me to Brisbane Airport, especially when they reassure me that I didn't need my passport to enter Tasmania. But standing here as the brother of my 2 beautiful sisters, in particular Jess today, who as of today has an amazing husband. I'm really grateful to be able to stand up here and to witness you guys making this lifetime commitment to each other. Jess, you're an incredible woman of strong heart and character. You add so much value to my life, and I value our connection so much, and we have so many memories that we share, and so many more that last a lifetime. You're an inspiration to me in all areas of my life, and I'm very grateful to have you as my sister. Mitch, You're a wonderful man, and it's obvious that the love that you have for Jess is very strong. And I eagerly await the future, as I know the two of you will build an amazing life together, and I can't wait to play a part in your story. I haven't got my glass up here with me, but if we could all raise a toast. For a lifetime of happiness, through sickness and through health, for the good and the bad, and sometimes the downright ugly. To Mitch and Jess.
Thanks.
Great to see the Lees in fine form tonight. Good luck, Mitch. Up next, we have the main event, so let's welcome up Jess and the Lumberjack.
So we're all here today at Hillstone at St Lucia, and for some of you might not know that obviously it's now quite a special place for Jess and I being married here today, but there's a few other things that have happened here that we have some fond memories for. We spent a bit of time playing golf together, and we've occasionally played here at time to time, and every so often we don't play so well, so we often spend the time walking around, not talking to each other, kind of being a little bit angry and, you know, having our moments to each other while we try and work out what's going on before we eventually leave, and we're like, why are we angry at each other for all this? Like, we're just trying to have a good time and play some golf.
Fun.
Like, and for another story that's occurred here, for probably a lot of people might not know, that in February, I'd actually come out to play just by myself on one afternoon. I think Jess might have been getting ready for night shift and things. But I was standing on the first tee box, getting ready to drive, and I got a phone call. And normally I don't do a lot with my phone while I'm out, but we'd been looking at houses and trying to buy a house at the same time. So I'd seen my phone ring, I'd answered it. It was the real estate agent for one of the houses we'd made an offer onto. She'd come back saying to us, you've got a counter offer. This is what it is. If you can come back to us and accept or give back another counter offer. So I'm standing there on the first tee box, ready to try and play a round, shaking, quickly getting my phone to then call Jess to go, we've been counter offered, what do we want to do? To then to suddenly call the agent back in about 15 seconds after talking to Jess to say, we're going to accept, we'll take the house. The agent had said she'd never heard anyone come back so quickly in her life. Safe to say I didn't play very well for the rest of the rounds. A few too many nerves and shaking hands. I didn't hit anything very well. So I just want to thank everyone for being here today, to my family and to Jess's family and all of our friends. It means so much to both of us that you've all taken the time and the effort to be here today for us to celebrate. I just want to say what an incredibly perfect day it's been today. The weather was a bit interesting earlier in the week with some heat waves and some rain and things like that, but it's turned out wonderfully. And it's been more amazing than either of us could have ever imagined with everything coming together. To Jess, my lovely and beautiful new wife, thank you for all your... Thank you for all your hard work and resilience. Everyone is surely aware that you planned most of the wedding. I did help a little bit here and there, but we did have an agreement, was that you would plan the wedding and I would plan our honeymoon, and that has happened as such.
Yeah.
When I first met Mitch, it was July in 2018. I just moved back to Sydney and I'd been a nurse for all of 5 days. I just missed out on a job that I wanted so badly, and I was devastated to leave my life and friends in Brisbane. So right before I moved, I had dinner with some of my beautiful bridesmaids, Gemma, Marnie and Tina. I remember driving home with Marnie, and I was telling her how badly I wanted to stay in Brisbane. And she's like, you'll have the best time in Sydney. You might even meet someone. I was like, no, Marnie, I will not meet someone. And now her greatest claim to fame is that I met Mitch 1 week after moving to Sydney. There she is. Yes, Marty. So to stand here 5 years later with Mitch as my husband, my best gal pals by my side, and now working the same job that I got rejected from, it feels like the universe was pulling me in the right direction after all. Thank you. Over the past 5 years, Mitch and I have worked different jobs. We've moved 5 times, endured lockdowns, hotel quarantine, bought our first home and planned our wedding. We are so grateful to you, our friends and family, who have shown us the greatest love and support as we navigate these chapters of our lives, and you're here to celebrate with us today. We would like to thank those who have travelled here. Your presence means the world to us, and we appreciate the huge effort you've gone to in order to join our celebration. I'd like to thank my beautiful parents, Mark and Jenny, for giving me a family filled with love and laughter. As the middle child, I'm sure my independence was challenging. On my first day of kindergarten, I said to Mum, you can go now. She was crying, I think I wasn't. I was like, good. So pretty bold for a 5-year-old. But it's not that I didn't want you around. It was in fact quite the opposite. You have prepared me to face any challenge and to have confidence in my own abilities. So these days I teach Dad how to load credit onto his phone and help Mum log into her Apple ID. The reason I turned my mum away at the kindergarten classroom is because my older sister Georgia had me so well prepared and excited to be going to school. She also introduced me to The Sims. She taught me the Nutbush and has accompanied me to many concerts. My little brother Eddie has provided endless laughter with his ability to recall lengthy dialogue from TV shows and movies flawlessly. Your speech has been an absolute highlight for me. I would also like to thank Lauren, our beautiful MC. She's doing a fantastic job keeping everyone in line today. Also Tina, Courtney, Gemma and Marnie, you look absolutely gorgeous today. We had the best morning getting ready this morning, and I love you guys so much. Also to my friends, Thea, Lauren and Maddie, you guys have been lifelong friends, my oldest friends, and our friendship has endured 22 years of me moving up and down the East Coast. So this year has been a milestone for us, and I love you guys so much. I would also like to thank Mitch's family, Rowan and Eileen and Jackson, for making me feel so welcome from the very beginning. For helping us move apartments, inviting us over for Palmer Thursdays. Your generosity is always appreciated, and I'm so excited to be officially part of the Tudor family. And BJ and Jackson, you guys are phenomenal and done a great job keeping Mitch cool, calm and collected today. To the man of the hour, my husband, it didn't take long to work out that you were something special. I love how funny you are and your cheeky smile, how you can sometimes read my mind, whether it's a dish I want for dinner, a snack from the shops, or that I want a cup of tea, or what song's stuck in my head. It's not just the things you do for me, but the way you show me how much you care every single day. Your family and friends are so lucky to have you, and I am the luckiest girl of all as I get to be your wife. So for the final time, please raise your glasses. I would like to toast to all of you for being here today. As my granddad Alan would say, happy days.